So
Nice.
I will call the meeting of the Tilton Zoning Board of Adjustment to order. June 17th at I have 6:07 p.m. Is that correct?
I think so.
And let's begin by introducing everyone at the table. To my left, far end, we have Marina Sumner. Sumner, thank you. I don't know why I always do that. Marina Sumner. Joe Plessner to my left, our vice chairman. And Arthur Demas at the other end.
Yes.
Kathy O to my right. And I'm Bob Brown.
Yeah, put that in here.
Welcome to everybody.
I'm trying.
There's gonna be a quiz at the end.
I was going through them.
See
You
whether
all that?
you remember all of it.
And we'll start right in with our first case this evening. First and only case. Okay, that would be case 13-05. Kevin Lacasse, manager of Country Meadows Manufactured Home Community, LLC, is seeking a variance of Article 14.4, Section 14.4.2 of the zoning ordinance to permit a subdivision of the house from the park property with more than the required 3 acres due to wetlands surrounding the property. The property is located at 311 School Street in the Rural Agricultural District, Tax Map R13, Lot 8. Are there any disqualifications before we begin?
No, I'm good.
Okay, everybody's good. Who's representing?
Oh, yeah, be me?
You
You gotta get him on
Mr.
the table.
Lacasse?
Yes, I'm Kevin, yeah. Thank you guys for your time tonight. I went to the planning board and at first wasn't sure kind of the process to take, so I met with them, and because it wasn't part of the subdivision regulations and was part of the zoning regulations, that's kind of what brought me here. I know we did get some smaller copies made, but I also do have a few bigger copies if it's easier to see for you guys.
Yeah, the smaller ones are pretty well defined. Do you need to count that in? Want to look at it?
I'll
Ed?
share with you.
So we're good.
One's enough.
Yeah, one's
I'm
good.
familiar, I'm very familiar with the property.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, I think most everyone here knows exactly where you are and what's going on.
Okay, so, yeah, just to kind of summarize, when we bought the community, our intention was, and I came into the planning board at the time and said, I want to fix up the farmhouse and subdivide and sell that off so I can reinvest and, fix up the roads and the infrastructure and so forth in the park. So that's kind of what we're doing. So we had to, go out and survey and do the wetlands and so forth. And unbeknownst to me, that nice dry hayfield out there is wet. So I was kind of taken back a little bit. So if you look at the map, there's 1.269 of what they call dry land, although it's surrounded by basically the field and so forth. So my first intention was to carve off about 3 acres for just the farmhouse and the barn and this garage here. And then I was going to keep and try to do a right-of-way so I could keep and maintain access to the barn over here. But when I saw, that it was wet, I said, okay, well, why don't we try to just give the whole piece, which is, more than 2.5 times the regulation, and get 7.259 acres and subdivide that and give that whole section off, and so I can sell the farmhouse with that. But still required a variance, so that's kind of why I'm here tonight.
Where is the actual delineation of the 1.269?
Delineation is right here. It's this dotted blue line here. So if it kind of goes up and down around here and then around. So all the structures and improvements on the site now are within the dry area.
Within this-
So it's
within
this dotted
line?
line here,
Right.
yeah. So everything in here, yeah, is considered dry, and then the stuff outside of that is wet. Now, the only actual water is this little pond out here
Right.
that's out front. The rest of it's just all field, but
Okay,
I guess the wetland scientist said that it's wet.
okay.
I understand very well what you're going through, 'cause
Yeah.
I had my land looked at a couple of years ago, and the same thing, because it happened to be a very wet year, they came up with a lot of wetlands that I didn't even know existed.
Right,
Okay.
and I don't know if it happened to do with timing of year, because it was kind of spring time frame when he did it after rain. So, you know, I don't understand the science part of it, but not to say that there isn't a science, I'm sure there is, but I just,
It's not supposed to, but I mean, it does affect the drainage. In other words, you can have
right,
vernal pools and things like that. and
Yeah.
Areas that'll hold water for a while. And,
yeah,
that was what I ran into across the street in my field, that a fair amount of it turned up as wetlands. And, hell, I've been driving tractor on for 30 years. And
Yeah,
I
right.
Never thought of it as wetland.
yeah.
But I know what you're getting at. Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was hoping for, because that would kind of help me proceed with the plan that I originally said, and as compensation, I was gonna give more than twice the amount to the subdivision in kind of exchange for there being not so much of the drop.
Yeah,
So when
Okay.
it shows, the whole parcel is 52 acres, so you can kind of see the chunk that's getting taken off of that.
so everything that the building's currently sitting on is considered dry land.
Yeah,
Okay. Is that it then?
yeah, that's
Okay.
basically about it.
Okay, well, that's basically what your application said as well. Any questions from the board? Okay, Kevin, I think are you all set?
I'd say now, the question, as far as I'm concerned, the intent of the ordinance was to prevent subdivision of a piece of property into less than 3-acre parcels. Okay, this particular situation is really far removed from that concern, and that the size of it, being the size that it is, it still could be worked agriculturally, even though it is wet.
Oh, yeah.
But the whole thing would be very reasonable size of lot for the agricultural zone.
Well said. Okay, if there's no other questions, I'll open up to those Wadley brothers are here tonight.
You want to speak?
It's up to you, you deal with me.
Good point.
Are you planning on owning that brook?
What's that?
Are you planning on owning that stream that runs down between the vine and that swale? Is that where your line is?
Where, if I'm planning on mowing it?
Are you planning on owning it?
Oh, owning which part?
If I were subdivision.
Is that
I'm
the
not
one
sure
the
which
back of
part.
the house, the back of the, runs down back the vine, down across just between the,
Oh, down in here?
yeah.
Well, it would go with whoever buys this, you know, because ultimately,
No.
you know, once a subdivision is granted, this would be sold off all as one separate parcel.
Yeah.
And whoever would own, you know, would buy this would own all that section.
No, that's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about this one over here.
Got it.
Oh, the swale there, that kind of goes down where water
Yeah.
just kind of drains in between the community now and the farmhouse, you're saying?
Yeah.
That would go with this, basically right over here. See, this is the scale on here as far as, you know,
Oh, yeah.
one is, you know, so it's probably 75 to 100 feet back from this road here where the subdivision line would be, and that would go all the way back to the stone wall, basically where that right-of-way is. The power easement, and all that section would go with the farmhouse. Basically, right along, you know, for all intents and purposes, it runs along the road going in, and then this road going back, except it continues straight all the way back to the stone wall.
Would you mind showing this to the board members?
Sure.
What's under discussion here?
You know, there's kind of like a drainage area or water, and I don't even know, is it a brook or is it just
It's
kind
at
of wet
least
during
a
wet
bit-
season?
It's at least a seasonal stream, and quite often there's more than that.
So,
Yes.
which basically, and it's not really shown on here because it's all shown as wet, but I guess there's like an area in here where
Mhm.
water more or less drains out this way. And I mean, I haven't seen it run, but I can see where it was probably more wet out back in there. So he was asking if we're gonna own that, and I said, well, it's just basically, you know, in accordance with here. And I'm
Own
not
it,
sure
or-
exactly
You
where
mean,
that
is it gonna
goes.
go with this subdivision, this lot? Is that what you're asking, Ben?
Yeah.
Is that gonna go with the new lot? Okay.
And I guess it depends where exactly that, you know, that wet area is that you're talking about. I'm pretty sure it is onto that property. I don't think it's back any closer to the road from there, but it may be right, almost on that line, pretty much.
Back in the Alders, isn't it, right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hasn't been cleared to it.
No, it hasn't been cleared, that's all wooded, I had no intention on doing anything with that
It's
area.
a good point, though,
I'm Dave Longley.
because that's
Oh, hi
important.
Dave.
Yeah.
Nice
To
to meet you.
Ben.
maintain the
Ben.
natural drainage
Kevin.
if we can.
Nice to meet you.
So,
I mean, I'm not disrupting anything, I'm not changing the way the land is or anything. The farmhouse has been there, it's always been. I just want to be able to sell that separately because I'm not intending on living there and I really don't want to rent it out. I think it makes sense for it to be lived in by someone that owns it. So
Yeah, we-
that's why I want to sell that off and, you know, have that separate from the park itself.
Once
Any
it-
other questions?
If this subdivision goes through, that never could be subdivided again, could it?
No, I don't believe so. Not since it's wetlands. It can't be touched.
This year, everything is wet, so.
Yeah, no.
And we could even consider the fact to just make it to where there can't be any further subdivision too.
Correct.
Right.
yeah.
So, that would be a,
That can be done, and, but since it's documented as wetlands, no. The answer is no.
There's
It's
no,
gotta
yeah,
stay-
there's no
Pretty
other.
much gotta stay the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no other area where it would be, any dry area that could be built on or done anything with, so it really, yeah, it wouldn't make any sense to further subdivide it.
No. That'd be one long skinny lot anyways, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I know, it'd be kind of.
You haul in enough fill, you can come above the wetline, water table.
Today they can do
Not
anything,
legally.
right? I know.
it happened.
Any other questions, gentlemen?
No, not for me.
You know,
Okay. Okay, Kevin, thank you very much.
Okay.
At this point in time, I think I'll let the board have a few minutes to discuss.
Sure, yeah, did you wanna keep this open on the
Amongst
table for
yourselves.
now,
I
or?
don't think
Sure, you
we
can leave that right there if
see-
you'd like. Thank you. So we all know where that drainage area is that you were talking about, right along this border, comes out. That would be right into David's field, obviously, correct?
Right.
Where it's going, yeah. Okay. So how do you folks feel? Have you had a chance to review the 5 criteria? You did? Okay. Arthur? Yeah, you're okay? Yeah. They have handwritten explanations for each one. You think I should read through those?
I think
Not a bad
by
idea.
virtue of the law, we've got to cover that.
I think so too, yeah.
Want to or not.
I'll go through the 5 criteria that apply to a variance application, questions and answers. The first one being a variance is requested from Article 14.4, Section 14.4.2 of the zoning ordinance to permit a subdivision of the house with more than 3 acres due to wetlands surrounding the property. Facts supporting this request: 1, granting the variance would not be contrary to the public interest because the answer,
Get stuck here.
a farmhouse and outbuildings, as well as mobile home park, have both already been in existence for at least 40 years with no adverse effect.
Some kind of a bug catcher or something.
Item 2, if the variance were granted, the spirit of the ordinance would be observed because, and the answer, all improvements to the property already exist. We are simply separating the uses, mobile home park, from existing farmhouse lot. And
Thank you
number
folks for the time. Good luck.
Okay.
Good night, David, thank you
Good
for
night.
coming.
Yeah.
3, granting the variance would do substantial justice because, and the answer, the proceeds from subdivision and eventual sale of the farmhouse will be reinvested in into the community behind the property. It will also ensure an owner occupant in the farmhouse. And number 4, if the variance were granted, the values of the surrounding properties would not be diminished because, and the answer, the values would actually be increased because the farmhouse will be standalone house which can be sold separately. Also, both parcels and improvements thereon already exist. Now we get into the hardship. Unnecessary hardship. Owing to a special condition of the property that distinguish it from other properties in the area, denial of the variance would result in unnecessary hardship because subparagraph 1, Roman numeral 1, no fair or substantial relationship exists between the general public purposes of the ordinance provision and the specific application of that provision to the property because, and the answer is, all improvements already exist. Also, the ordinance calls for just 3-acre lots. However, this lot will be 7.259 acres, which is mostly all field. Apparently, the soils depicted as wetland soils, however, is not evident by walking across the grassed field. And subparagraph Roman numeral 2, the proposed use is a reasonable one because it is of, and the answer is, it is of similar style and use of all surrounding properties along School Street. Also, it would allow the multiple uses of the overall property to be split. I don't think we need to bother with subparagraph B since we've answered A.
Mm-hmm.
So, there we have it. Looks pretty good. I think we definitely, if you folks have a tendency to be inclined to approve this, that we should stipulate that no further development would take place, something along those lines. Have you prepared anything?
I have,
Would you like to read it to us?
well, I can either read it or go ahead and do a motion, if you prefer.
Oh, fine. The motion's great.
Okay, we can
If
beat
we're
this.
ready, is there any other discussion before Joe makes no? Okay. You all set, Randy?
You good?
Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, I would make a motion that we approve the request, the application, to allow the creation of that lot as depicted on survey dated May 27, 2013. I assume the town has one of these
Yep.
on file, is that correct? Okay. With the following conditions. The single-family residence on the lot shall always remain a single-family residence. In other words, can't be converted into multifamily.
Right.
There can be no further subdivision of the lot itself.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm giving Gus a chance to write it down here.
You said no further subdivision of the lot?
Right,
Okay.
and also no additional structures other than outbuildings to be created on the lot. In other words, you replace one of the sheds or the barns that are there, I mean, if you
Yeah.
replace that, but no additional
Okay.
buildings.
Just no additional
Excellent.
structures, that's it? No additional structures?
Other than outbuildings.
Other than existing outbuildings?
No,
So like no
just
more
a-
houses or anything like that? Is that
Right, no more houses, nothing else you can live in, that's why I say
Right,
outbuildings.
Okay.
Yep.
It's sort of, whoever were to acquire it, they might very well want to do something agriculturally on the lot.
Right, that's kind of what I was
And they-
hoping for,
they,
thinking would be the best use.
They might want to,
Continue as a farm.
I'm sorry?
Continue as a farm.
Yeah, as a gentleman's farm, if you will.
Can
Right.
raise chickens again, you know?
Maybe once, it's agricultural.
Goats,
Yeah,
Uh,
are those acceptable conditions?
yeah, those are fine, sure, yeah. That
Sure.
kind of fit right with my intention anyhow, so.
Very well, nicely done.
Okay. that's-
So there you have the
that-
motion.
That's all I have as far as the motion goes.
Do I hear a second? Seconded by Kathy. You ready? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good, it's done.
Done.
Well, thank
I
you.
do have one question for you.
Sure,
That barn that's attached to the house.
Yeah?
I'm very familiar with it. I've been in that structure
okay.
more than once. And as I remember, it looked like it was ready to come down.
We've
you
already
got it-
put new siding along on this.
Well, we painted it, that's all,
Okay.
well, and actually, I didn't even paint the barn part of it. We painted the windows along the road that goes into the farmhouse, which is now Country Meadow Road that goes in there. And that side had already been previously vinyl sided.
Mhm.
The only part that's not vinyl sided is the part that you first see when you're coming up School Street looking at it.
Right.
So when I sold it, and I, kind of went back and forth on whether I should just take the whole thing down and just simply keep the house, or whether, the barn should stay up. And I didn't know the answer to that, and so I kind of am not really doing a whole lot with the barn at this point, because I'm gonna base it off of whoever buys it. Someone may want to restore it back to its original glory, or someone may want to just level it and have that space as more land. I really don't know, so, I didn't really have intentions for anything with it at
In
this
just
point.
past conversations with the previous owner
Mm-hmm,
years ago,
yeah,
there was always that question that if, to try and sell it, would a potential buyer want to take that on as a
Pretty large
responsibility?
structure for maintenance.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
4 stories. up
yeah,
as I recall.
5, with an
5 stories.
elevator and a whole bit, yeah.
Yes.
Has an elevator in there?
Oh, there is. It's not operable anymore, but there's an elevator in there, yeah. All the mechanisms are there, the pulleys and
That's
stuff,
cool.
but
That's cool.
it is. It's really neat to look at. I don't know that I'd trust riding up in the thing, but it's there. As far as the structure itself, it's not really rotted though. When I went through, I thought it's in pretty good condition. There are some soft spots or some parts in the floorboards that are a little sketchy when you start going up. But the first section, the floor is good, and the beams, the structure, the beams look good. There's no leaks coming through the roof. The cupola on the top is in good condition. So,
Wow.
that's why I was kind of debating which way to go with it. Because if someone did want to put some money into it, they probably could restore it. Then again, what do? Do they, store cars in there? Do they, raise chickens? I don't know. So that's kind of why I didn't really want to do anything with it at this point.
Probably best to just give them the option.
Right,
Decide.
and you know what, if someone made it a condition of the sale and said, well, I love the house, I love the property, but that barn's gotta go, fine, we'll take it down, so, that'd be something I'd be open to doing. I just didn't wanna, have someone come along and say, geez, I'd love this house, but only if there was a nice 5-story barn behind it.
Just took it down.
Is
Yeah,
it-
so.
Is it totally?
Did you mark the pieces?
Yeah, exactly. No, there's still quite a bit of stuff in there. The top floors are pretty much empty, but the bottom floor, the previous owner just had a whole bunch of stuff
I
in
know.
there. So, there's still some clean out to be done. Yeah.
A lot of work.
It
a lot of work.
was junk city in there.
Are you
Oh,
gonna-
yeah,
Are you
there's-
gonna have an office and back in the, is there gonna be anybody there
Yeah, yeah.
permanently?
Yeah, we're starting now cleaning up some of the overgrowth vegetation and stuff, and fixing up the existing houses that are in there now. And then once we sell the house, then we want to repave all the streets in there. I'm also trying to work with a couple manufacturers so I can get some new product in there and set up some new model units, and that's kind of what we use as an office.
Yeah,
And
well,
really get it cleaned up and operating good.
alert you to one thing that I know of for a fact as a health officer. Those septic systems up there are too close to the surface of the ground, and they tend to freeze up in the wintertime.
All the
I
septic
talked to
issues.
DES about that too, and they said they went up there and inspected it, and they said that it was all built according to the plans and stuff. And I heard that about them freezing up.
Yeah.
And again, you know, I haven't owned it through winter, so I don't know yet, but I was told that it was because the system was flooded, because there was no heat tape on some of the houses, so they would keep the water trickling, and the actual septic tank froze solid, which shouldn't happen because the decaying matter in a septic system creates heat, and therefore it could be right at the surface and shouldn't freeze.
Right.
So I'm not entirely sure what's going on there.
I know the two homes that you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I was a health officer at the time,
Oh, okay,
and I was involved with the whole issue.
all right,
And the state made perfect asses out of themselves,
huh,
okay? Because when we first went up there,
surprise, surprise.
when we first went up there was no doubt in their mind that what the problem was,
Huh,
okay? And then the previous owner then blamed it on this water system.
yeah,
And, they also had the guy with the photo tape go up there.
oh, who's
And, you know, visually run the tape down the
yeah, okay,
the
yeah,
waistline.
yeah,
And it was clear from the house right up to the D-box,
yeah,
at which point then it was just all water. So that meant it wasn't going any further. But without belaboring, I'm just alerting you to the fact, but I was really getting at the other homes that are in the area,
yeah,
would be further south from that point.
yeah,
Those were the fairly new units at that time,
Right.
relatively speaking.
right,
The
right,
older homes over there is where they were really having more of the problems. And I do that for both the complaints from people who live there that had problems,
yeah,
but also one thing that I remember doing at the time is that because I happened to collect about 10 tons of leaves every fall
yeah,
on my property, George had asked me if he could have them all bagged and use the bags, and which I did. I gave
Yeah.
him all that must have been 50, 60 bags of leaves, and he covered up all the systems on their, you know, on the surface.
really, huh.
So I know that, so I'm just saying to be alert for that
Okay.
fact, you may.
No, I appreciate that, because, yeah, I mean, you know, I tried to do a whole bunch of due diligence before getting into it. You know, I talked with the state, I came in, met with the town, you know, and talked, and every, you know, different entity that I talked to, there was definitely conflict between the old owner and everyone, it seemed, you know, so, you know, it was,
Thank
you know, so I mean, you know, I didn't know him. I don't know him now, so I don't know what happened. But I definitely want to do the right thing. I mean, if there's issues, they're definitely good to know about. And if I do come across them, we're gonna hopefully fix them so they're fixed correctly going forward. Because
Well, this is
You
the
know, it's
go-to
no
guy
way
if
to-
you have any historical questions about the
Yeah.
previous owners.
I think the one thing I'd be prepared to do
Troubles.
is put some more earth on top of the lines running out to the systems themselves. But I think that's where it was freezing up, although it can never be proved.
do you know which ones in particular, or just kind of all of them? Because see, I
The
mean,
ones at the end, I remember putting the leaves on top of those systems, the far southern end. I remember that. I don't know whether there's still homes there or not.
the far southern end. So when you
Uh,
come in, the ones down this
no,
way, because the
southern
ones I
end.
was freezing up.
Down
Okay,
here.
down this.
And there was
Okay.
one up in here, as I remember, that I was dealing with. There was a young lady there who's had that problem, and actually, we went to court over the whole thing. And he blamed it on her, letting her kids put.
That could
toward-
leach into David's area too, couldn't it, Ben?
But. That's a long ways from.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
No, the only existing homes right now are this green one that was previously owned by Ladd. We actually just got title to that one.
Oh,
It's
you did?
vacant right now. Yeah, I did, actually, so
Okay.
I did want to talk to you about getting the taxes squared up on that one. And then there's
Talk to
another
Cindy.
one owned by the Washburns, they're still in there. There's another one up here that's vacant, and then there's another one right here that's occupied by the guy doing the work throughout here. And then there's another one over here occupied by Fred Love, another one over here that we just sold that's just occupied, and another one over here that's vacant. And that's in there, that's in there for right now, so.
Well, thank you very much, Kevin.
Well, just,
Okay.
I mean.
Yeah, no, that's good to
These
know.
I want
problems
to
might
wish you the best
exist
of luck.
on sites that there isn't even a home on.
Yeah,
Okay, it's just-
right.
Sure.
I'm just
Yeah.
getting it, look into that aspect of
Yeah,
it
there were
before
some
you
serious issues.
Yeah,
get
no, I
surprised in the middle
appreciate
of winter.
that. I appreciate that, and and if I do run into problems, I hope you don't mind me coming and pick my brain. I anticipated running into some problems, and I figured I'll correct them as they come up.
Business
You
card.
might want to consider talking to Mrs. Hamilton, she might remember.
Oh, really? Huh,
She's,
okay.
They were the ones that built that little bat.
Oh, all right. Huh, that's a thought. I never even considered that.
We'll do the minutes.
So, all right, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
Okay, good luck with that.
Okay.
Well, we'd like
Pleasure
to-
meeting you and best of luck.
Yeah, nice meeting you guys too.
like
Thank
to
you.
see that thing developed into something decent.
That's my intent. That's my plan. So, it's nice meeting you too, Ben.
Okay,
Thank you.
good luck.
Good luck out there.
Okay,
Good luck
thanks.
now, thank you.
Bye.
All right,
As far
bye.
as the taxes on that
Yeah.
property, you need to see Cindy,
Okay.
okay?
All right, I'll do that
Okay.
later in the week.
All
Okay,
right.
great. Thanks. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, everything beyond that, bold.
Sorry, just forgot one thing. So now I gotta go back to the planning board, right, for the subdivision?
But, yeah.
Okay, all right.
And you've gotta get that in for Friday if you wanna go on July 9th meeting.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. then.
Okay.
I'll come in maybe Thursday.
Okay,
Okay, great, thanks.
yeah.
Okay, let's carry on with our housekeeping chores. First being approval of the minutes from April 15th, 2013. That, of course, was the evening that we got together specifically to elect a new chairman and vice chairman. So there's not anything else in there. If you all recall that,
What were the results of
Yes.
that anyway?
results are,
Can't say it out.
As they
I
say.
can't say it out loud, but I ended up as chairman.
Okay.
Ta-da.
And a
I
fine
don't know how
job,
that happened.
a fine job you're doing, too.
Well, thank you so much. It's hard to emulate somebody as good as you are, but try.
Aw, where's my food?
How about the job you did before, when you had the job before?
That was terrible. Lessons learned, right, Ben? We survived many years. Jeez. Okay, yeah, and thank you for coming and participating in that. That was good information.
Yeah, I gotta wait for our meeting.
It's pretty important.
Yeah, they meet at 7, so if we guys,
So if all of you recall reading those minutes, they were very brief. I'd like to get a motion.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
And
Okay.
second it, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Good, that's done. Anything in here that,
just town and country, that's the only thing,
okay.
just that everything else is old stuff and I kinda leave it beyond that,
Looks like it, yeah.
beyond that green paper, I just kinda leave it in there,
Okay, I'll review it anyways,
okay?
because I'm not familiar with a lot of it, Joe, unless Joe.
You can have that town and city if you wanna take it home.
Yeah, is this, does anybody else want this? No. Okay, you got better things to read. So, is there any new business? Anybody want to bring up anything? Any old business? We're good. Looks like we're ready to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
You asked for it.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Arthur.
So it shall be written, so it shall be done.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I do declare.
And we'll call that at 6:40 PM.
6:40.
One of the shortest meetings we've had for a while.
Right, I was gonna say, is it okay if I ask us to leave the discussion relative to the septic system? Because it really wasn't related to the application, but leave that out of the minutes.
Oh, that, I won't put that in the minutes,
Okay.
but it will be on tape, dear.
Yeah, along with your.
I don't give it on, I just don't, it doesn't need to be part of the minutes because it's not related to the property in question.